behind and thriving for teachers. Now, today's episode is really off the cuff. This one I have no script for. I have no, look, there's no direction that this is really going except for voicing my opinion. So, in saying that, there's a lot going on in the media, whether it's at the moment or whether it is like in the past or wherever we are at in this stage of this development. But the gist of it is teaching has changed so much. It's honestly ridiculous. Like the kids that we are teaching today are completely different to the kids that we were teaching 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago. These kids are a different breed, and there are different expectations that come with that as well. The kids that we are getting now are certainly not brought up the way that I was brought up. If I was in a classroom and say maybe something happened, let's say a boy threw a piece of paper on the floor, the teacher would then have a discussion, like maybe you'd even say scold that student. Such and such, pick that up off the floor now, thanks. And they'd stop and they'd pick it up. Oh, sorry, sir. I'm really sorry. And put it in the bin. That is not what happens today. Unless you've had a family that have raised their children in that particular way and to be that level of respectful, it's not the same. The kids that we get now are questioning everything. So let's say I walk into a classroom and it's a pigsty. And I say to the kids, guys, this place is a bit of a mess. Let's clean it up. And you get the kid that looks you straight in the eyes and says, not my job. I'm not a cleaner. Like, well, we've all worked together to make this mess. So we're going to stop and we're going to clean it up together. And they're like, no. So you play the magic piece of rubbish game. Let's all clean up until we find the magic piece of rubbish off the floor. And you'll get maybe 80% of your kids chipping in to help. And you'll still get those ones that just waltz around that look like they're doing not a whole lot. And it just breaks your heart, really. So we have those kids. We have the students where an incident occurs and it is never their fault. Never their fault. It is always someone else's fault. They made me do it. They said this, so I did that. It is the back and forth and back and forth. There is no responsibility taken. And then they're usually the kids of the parents that will ask you the same question. Well, who else was involved? Oh, well, they clearly made them do it. My response in this situation is still and forever will be, and it will offend people, I know, is that I'm sorry, but your kid controls their actions. Their mind is telling them something to do and they do it. That is them. Just because their friend said for them to do something, they have the choice to take up that or to neglect that and choose a different path. It is on them. And there's just nothing that drives me nuts more than those kids, and I'm sorry, but those parents that will not take responsibility or will not get their kids to take responsibility for their own actions. It was their choice. Then you get the kids where you are in the situation where you might have no clue what's actually happened, but something has occurred and people are obviously upset with each other and there is a fight. Now, I'm talking big altercation, massive fight. I'm going to take you back to an example from my own career when I worked in a high school setting where there was obviously an issue between boyfriend, girlfriend. He looked at her or she looked at him. Look, something has happened. I don't even remember what had actually occurred to cause this to happen, but a gentleman decided that it was then time to take on a female student, and it required a lot of intervention for that to actually cease. It required staff to put themselves at risk to protect and defend other students. It required us to stand between these students to stop someone from getting physically injured to a point of no return. Putting myself in those situations, it wasn't, look, I was never going to take on a kid. I was always going to protect a kid. So I would put myself in the situation of, if you are my son or if you are my daughter, I would not want you getting physically assaulted at school. So I would be doing everything in my power to stop that from happening. And that is what I would do as a teacher. That is what I did as a teacher. And then when you have to call for intervention from external services like police, and you have to get them to come to the school grounds to then remove and talk to those students, because it is physical assault. And this is happening in Australia, full stop. And all of the people that are coming out and saying, oh, the teachers are striking because they want more pay. I'm sorry. You need to get that message. You can share this with your friends. We are putting ourselves at risk in our profession now every single day, whether that is a student or a parent. We are putting ourselves and our lives at risk. We are a frontline worker. That is what we are. We did not stop working during COVID. Yes, maybe kids stopped coming and then we slowly got them back, but we never stopped working behind the scenes. And we were just as valued and important. And that's the part I think that a lot of people forget. Because it's now in the media, all of a sudden the statistics come out that there's over 80% of teachers that are getting physically assaulted in their job, in their profession. There is not the level of respect that there once was for this profession. Full stop. Like, replace it with an exclamation mark. I can't make that any clearer. It is not the same. When I first started teaching over 15 years ago, this job was completely different. I felt safe going to work wherever I was to go. There will always be rough and tough kids that need a lot of love, and we need to work with them to get them to engage. But when I am turning up to a job where I actually don't feel safe in that role, but I'm still turning up every day because I want to be there for those kids, support those kids, and keep the others safe, that's what we are doing right now. So, yeah, we're going to ask for things. We're going to go back to the government to say, this is what's actually happening. If you would like to become an ostrich and continue to put your head in the sand, that's fine. You do you. But now that we are actually coming back and saying, we'd really appreciate it if you could look at our agreements again so that we can have a little bit more pay, a little bit more support, some more TAs, some more actual support in resources and interventions. Let's go. Like, come to the party. Maybe you could have a day in the life. Come and put some of the politicians in our classrooms, not in certain ones, like really be strategic about where they're placed and experience a day in the life of teachers. Every school culture is different. Every state and territory is different. But we are all trying to educate students. We are not trying to stop physical altercations. Like, that is not my job, but now it is part of my job. It's what I have to do. It's what I had to do. I might be working in a really sweet situation and school at the moment, and some of you are. Some of you may get to grace that bubble. It's amazing. But sometimes you do have to work in an area where you may not feel safe going to work, but you turn up anyway. And I did that for years. I turned up anyway. I knew the kids that would have those altercations. I tried to stay ahead of the game to know which family was fighting with which one, to know which kids not to put in a room together. We would do our best to mitigate risk. We still do that today. We deal with parents that we have to give warnings to for the way they speak to us, because that is not the same as the way it used to be. Parents had respect for teachers and educators. A lot still do. I'm not saying this is all bad. There are still so many pockets of amazing goodness in our world, and that's why we keep turning up. But it is not the same. All these memes that come up for the way it used to be, where the parents would come in and talk to the teacher and say, how's little Johnny going? Oh, he's actually really struggling in maths. Well, Johnny, you need to get your act together. You need to study more. We're going to do these things at home and we will follow up. No, now it is, Johnny's not doing so well in math. Well, what are you doing to support him further? You're clearly not teaching that, right? That's not how we learnt to do it, so I've taught him this way. Right, okay, so you're the teacher. You're the expert. You've done years of university training on child development and you know how this is done. Go for it. Be my guest. But this is what we are dealing with. And I know educators that are listening to this, teachers specifically and TAs, that you are nodding along going, Mel, I feel it. I get it. This is hard. And we are so lucky that we still have people enrolling in the degree to go and do it. There's still people turning up every day to teach in a classroom when they may not feel safe. We still have teachers that are teaching and doing their absolute best to support our kids because we love what we do and that is our why. But it's hard. So yeah, we should be allowed to come back and say, can you please review our agreement? Here's a list of things that would really help us to do our jobs better. But all the media sees and brings out is they want more money. Well, yeah, look, we probably do because the cost of living has increased. Our pay has not. So that's a little difficult. And it's really disheartening too, as a teacher who has done these years of training and know that we are shaping the next generation, is that there's someone that's doing a role, and it may even be like they're just someone's secretary and they're getting the same salary that I'm getting just for being someone's secretary. Does that really make our profession look appealing to these younger generations that are coming through? Do they really want to go and do that? Or are they going to go where the money is? I really hope that they are thinking about their heart and where their heart is and what that wants to help them to do. Because as I said before, this was not my choice to start off with, but my heart took me on a journey and I chose teaching. I could have chosen another path, but I chose teaching and I have lots to do with my why. But this is the thing. It is hard at the moment. And there's just so much coming out in the media and people are just getting shocked by it. And we're all standing here going, as if you didn't know that. Like, we're living this. Yeah, there's some crazy stats that you can find now, but maybe if you actually got out and about and talked to some of these teachers, you'd realize that this has been happening for years. I have watched people get physically assaulted by students. I have watched students film teachers being verbally assaulted and yelled at and things being said about them. I remember walking into one of my classes and having a kid say something about me. And it hurts. Words can hurt. But I learnt to step above that. But not everyone is as strong. That could be the thing that breaks that person, that drives them away from coming back the next day and doing this profession. And I watched that happen too. I watched some of these young teachers get absolutely slaughtered and eaten alive and quit teaching with leadership teams that were not there to love and support them and help guide them through and do things about the situations. I've watched all of that happen. At that point, I was not strong enough to speak up because I was going through it myself. So that's what makes things hard. But I have learnt and grown from all of my experiences. They have helped me grow to be a better, stronger human being and a better, stronger human, I said human being, but teacher in general. Just every little thing, and I have learnt from. I still remember coming home and showing my husband, I think I was just doing the washing up and I pulled my sleeves up and he's like, oh my gosh, what's on your arms? It's like, oh, that happened today. I just blocked it out. And he's like, what happened today? I said, oh, look, I was helping such and such do this and they bit me. It's like multiple times. Like, oh, yeah, look, I was trying to keep him from kicking this person in the face. So because I had done manual handling, so everything was done safely, but he still managed to bite me multiple times on my arm. I've done an incident report. It's fine, darling. He's like, well, that kid better not be at school tomorrow. No, he'll be at school tomorrow because we reset and we start again. And to my husband, he was just, that is not okay. That's not acceptable. That does not happen. But when you have trauma-affected children in your space, sometimes we have to show a bit of love. And they learn from these experiences the same as we do. And then we put new procedures in place. Yes, there will obviously be a line drawn in the sand. But I was a strong enough teacher to be working in that space. Everyone is different. And I'm not saying that stuff is acceptable either. I'm just saying, I don't know how to word that any other way, but I have been there, okay? I have been spat on, hit, kicked, punched, sworn at, had multiple things said about me, videos filmed and sent out on TikTok, just all of the things. I have been there. And if you need love, help, and support and you want to talk it out, please feel free to talk to me. I'm more than happy to support you because I am still teaching and I am still turning up every day. I'm not leaving this profession just because these things have happened. I have built myself up. I have learnt from these things. I've learnt from my mistakes and my challenges, and they help me to grow as a teacher. But that is the thing. Like, that's the difference between some of the teachers. Like, we can't all do this. We can't all put up with that. And obviously some are putting up with a lot more than what I have. But I have been in those situations. Okay, so that is something that I just wanted to bring up because there's just so much coming out at the moment. And what's happening? It's the same thing. It's just these kids have changed. The parents have changed. The whole situation has changed. But sadly, the government's view of things have not changed. The curriculum has only gotten bigger and more broad and harder to teach. And technology has gotten harder for us to work out. And all these things, these cause and effects just keep piling up. And we just need to keep doing our job, but stay on top of it. Do this, do that. And we are just expected to play along. So that's what I was trying to communicate. As I said, I had no scripting for today. I went off on a tangent, but I needed to get it out because I think some of you need to hear this, that it is okay to express your opinion in a polite and respectful way because things have changed and we need to own that, but so does the rest of the world. It's just got to happen. And that's why there's all this stuff coming out, because we are in the process of renewing agreements in lots of states and territories. So that's why all of a sudden we're talked about again. And it's good and bad. It's ugly and it's beautiful. There's just a lot. Some parents understand and they respect that and they get that and they are so supportive and loving and kind. And they are the ones that turn up and say, I've spoken to my child last night about what happened yesterday and it certainly will not happen again. Will it, Johnny? And they're like, no, because mum took my PlayStation away, or mum wouldn't let me go to this or do that, or I didn't get any iPad time. It's all those things, because where there is an action, there is a consequence, because that is life. I do that with my own children. I've told you this before. I have a neurodivergent child. I possibly have two neurodivergent children. Not sure. One is obviously diagnosed. And he, to me, I have two amazing children. No one is perfect. I'm never going to say I have the perfect child because I don't, because no one is. I have a child that really struggles to regulate and needs support. Actually, they probably both do, but one is obviously diagnosed, the other is not. The one that has a diagnosis, though, obviously needs some breaks and attention and things, and takes things so literally. So when he is in the playground and a kid says something, he's going to go do that because he's taken it literally, and then wonders why he got in trouble, because he's like, but I just did this, because that's exactly what he was told to do. So I get it, but we are still the type of parents, and we do our absolute best to parent in the way where we explain to him that you are responsible for your actions. Just because someone told you to do that, you chose to do that. You didn't have to. You made a choice. Yes, I'm going to do that. And then you got in trouble. So there's a consequence. And we explain that. And even when you're so angry and everything's built up inside, that does not give you permission to go and hurt someone else physically. It means you need to go calm yourself down and use your words. And we always make that very clear, because they were there and they saw what happened to me, to mummy, when she was getting hurt from a kid that needed support to regulate and did not use their words. So they know that we talk about things. We follow up with things at home. We talk it out. We sort it out. We make a plan moving forward, and we follow through with our consequences, the same as there are consequences at school. And we are supportive parents. And that's what I would want as a teacher. I just want to be able to ring them and say, this happened today. And they'll go, righto, we'll talk to him at home. Anything else I need to know? Yep, okay, got all the facts. We'll talk it through. Thank you so much for letting me know. That's all we're asking for as educators. Or if we don't have the time to ring you, because sometimes things happen. And why do they always happen at Friday at 3:00? But they do. Sometimes things happen and then we have to go parent ourselves, or we have things on. And we're doing our absolute best by sending you a message to say, look, heads up, this happened. I will follow it up on Monday. Fantastic. Thank you for letting me know. We'll talk then. That's what we do. Well, at least that's what I try and do, because you've got to understand that we are teachers and we still have lives as well. We're not available 24/7. We have boundaries. And if you don't remember how to do those, go back to my other episode to remind you how to set yourself some boundaries. But that's it. Like, that's what we need to work on as teachers, is that I treat others the way I want to be treated. I parent the way I want other parents to also parent. I do things in a way that I would love people to reciprocate. So we just need to keep educating everyone and doing our absolute best. But yep, you're always going to get those kids and you're always going to get those parents. But you need to work on your mindset of whether you take that to heart or whether you work out a way to move forward. Be strategic, make a plan, keep following through with consequences, keep following all the procedures, and eventually one day we're going to get there and things are going to improve. I just know that it's going to happen because the world's going to see what's really going on. If you do live in Australia, you'll see that we've put things in place for the under 16-year-old ban for certain things. That's going to be a big thing for some of our kids. But I can see in the future it's going to be amazing. So for my own kids, it's going to be such a blessing to them, and I can see that because I've grown through that phase of having no social media and having a MySpace account to having all the technology today. And I can see what damage that could cause. And that's a big thing for us as a family too. We always tell our kids, if you can't say it to someone's face, then you shouldn't be saying it at all. However, also don't don't say that to a neurodivergent child who is so literal, because he will tell you to your face. He's also the most gorgeous kid in the world, I kid you not, like beautiful, kind-hearted, sweet little thing, but can also be very blunt. So if I want an opinion, it's the same as my dad. I love him dearly. If I really want to know what I look like and what my outfit looks like, I will just go ask Dad, because he will just straight down the line, oh, no, you can't wear that. Why, Dad? And give you a list of reasons why. Okay, I'll just go change until I get to an outfit. And I'm like, what about this? And he's like, that's the one. That's beautiful, because he can't fault it. That is what my son is like now too. If I ask for his opinion, like, I will get it straight down the line. So just be careful with that too. But yeah, so that is my little rant for you today. So I hope that, I don't know where I was heading. I said that before, but I hope you've gotten something out of this, just to empower yourself too. Okay? And make sure you just keep turning up every day. Remember your why. Go back to that every time. There is a reason why you chose this career and why you're doing what you do. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Please make sure you're giving me like your wonderful 5-star reviews, because that actually gets my podcast out there for more people to hear, so that I can help more people just like you. I just want to share my message with as many people as possible. Share this episode with some friends that you think might need to hear it, just to get our perspective on things. Just remember that you are loved, you are appreciated, and you are doing an amazing job. So I will talk to you again next time. Goodbye, my loves.